This is In Touch with Terri, a power-packed podcast for the medical aesthetics industry.
I just discovered your podcast, and I feel like I've hit a gold mine.
She's our inspiration.
This is someone who's got a lot of knowledge. She's been there, done that.
Terri Ross is a former Fortune 500 executive, international speaker, founder and CEO of Terri Ross Consulting, and co-founder of the 4S Summit, a sales and business mastery workshop for aesthetic professionals.
Terri is always approachable, always there for you.
It's nice to have somebody in your corner that can say, I got it.
In Touch with Terri will bring you solutions to increase operational and employee efficiency and practice profitability. Plus, feature some of the top industry experts as guests.
Terri, your courses and your podcast are just so helpful.
She made me feel like I could do this.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Now, here's Terri.
Hello, everybody. How are you? And welcome back to another episode of In Touch with Terri. And if you are the first-time listener, I am super excited to have you here. I am here today with a very good friend of mine, the beautiful boss babe, Yvonne Dellos. Hi, girl. How are you?
I am so good. I'm so excited to be here with you, Terri.
I'm super excited too, because in a couple of weeks, I will be at the MaAI conference with Yvonne. It's her conference. But before we just dive in, I want to take a minute and really give her the accolades and the credentials that she deserves. Why did I want her on the podcast? She's a boss babe and she's very successful. And I think that you have to surround yourself with successful people in the aesthetic space. There's too much room for error. There's so many gaps around the business of aesthetics, and she brings a tremendous wealth of clinical experience, and I bring the business, and together, I think we're just an incredible team. But Yvonne is a powerhouse in the space. She is renowned for her innovative contributions and leadership. She is the CEO and medical director of the MaAI, which is the Medical Aesthetic Art Institute, which she founded in 2018. And she's just the trailblazer. She has set aesthetic benchmarks. She has a leading training program, her hands-on curriculum, and she's pioneered courses that over 750 medical spas use right now. So Yvonne, just a badass. And she's the driving force around the MaAI conference that's happening in a couple of weeks. So if you are listening and you have not registered, I'm going to highly encourage you. I'm super honored that she has asked me to be there presenting on the business of aesthetics, again, economic value of treatment plans, and all the things that we're going to dive into today. But she has a super impressive career, and I'm sure most of you listening know her, and if you don't, you need to know her. Founding Results Medical Aesthetics and Weight Loss in 2015, highly successful business and offering a wide range of treatments. She also is a consultant and part of Prollenium, Benev, Merz. She's a KOL in the space. So again, Yvonne, we could go on and on and on. Super excited to have you.
Thank you, Terri.
I thought today would be really impactful for both of us, coming at it from a little bit of a different angle, but with the same purpose in mind. And I certainly can't touch anyone on the clinical side. What I can do, and what I have done for 20 years, right, is help people identify what does it take to run a successful aesthetic practice around the business fundamentals. And you come at it from a little bit of both. And I think people get it really twisted. So one, I'd love for you to just share for people that don't know you, a little bit about your background, your business, why you started the conference, and kind of where you think the state of the industry is today.
Honestly, I went to grad school to do reproductive medicine. So it's by complete fluke that I ended up in aesthetic medicine. It was, I had worked for a hospital for 16 years. I started in their snack bar, worked my way up to a secretary, and then worked my way up to an ER tech, became a nurse practitioner. And when I interviewed, they're like, you don't have any nurse practitioner experience. So I was like, okay, Yvonne, you have two choices. You can either sit here and feel sorry for yourself, or you can go out and do something about it. And so I had done reproductive medicine for a short period of time, and it ended up not being my jam. It was not for me. And so I kind of put my fillers out there to find a job, and I ended up the only job on the job board was in aesthetic medicine in January of 2014. So This was at the time that, you know, what we were doing was leaving mainstream, you know, derm and plastics, and it was going more into, you know, we had more branch med spas, such as there's Laser Away and there's Ideal Image. And so they were starting to just dabble in injectables. They'd been laser hair removal only. And now in beginning of 2014, they were starting to branch out. And that's when I got in the industry. And then after a year and a half, I was like, I'm commuting this black icy canyon each way with my kids. I might as well just do my own thing. Now, a little bit about me is I grew up on food stamps and welfare, and that's what I'm writing my book about right now.
I love it.
And it's like I had not a lick of education when it came to starting a business. But to me, this is my motto is like, how hard could it be? I'll just figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm that person where I will jump off the cliff and I'll be like, oh shit. Can I swear?
That one. Oh, girl, listen, do you know? I was like, do you know me? Right.
Yes. I'm like, I better stitch a parachute really fast and figure this out. And that's great. I do it every single time. So for those people that are like, I don't know what I'm doing and they're waiting for the perfect time, that's the problem. That's your problem. You really just have to jump and figure it out as you go. And so that's what I did with Results Medical Aesthetics and Weight Loss. I had dabbled in aesthetics. I had dabbled in weight loss. And so I'm like, I'll just do my own thing. And I literally booth rented from a hair salon up in the mountains, just outside of Park City, $500 a month for rent. And I just built my business. I just grew. I didn't know what I was doing, but I figured it out. Then that was in 2015. Then and literally I opened my business and flew that weekend to Boston. I took my mom and I went to an advanced training course. And I was like, you're my model. I got to learn this because I just opened this.
Figure it out,
So
right?
I'm one of those really that I figured out as I go. And again, there weren't training programs like there are today. In 2018, when I started the training program, the whole reason why I did it was because I had been working for another training program that was nationwide. And I felt so responsible for these students we were putting out that really had very little training. And I had to learn from reading books. So I have every Gene Carruthers book. I have every book in the industry that you can get your hands on. And that's how I learned. And then people started doing more training. So in 2018, I Google searched training programs and there were 16. So I was going to be number 17. So how I built mine was I really was just like, I always say, when you find a need, turn it into an opportunity to serve and an opportunity to profit. And I saw this huge need that these injectors needed more support. So in my training program, I offered the 1-day course. They get to take it again at no additional cost as an intern. And then they get ongoing mentoring. And then I started these community events. And this is how the conference came about. Was everywhere I would go, I would start creating these small community events. And so each time I would return to that area, we would have all the injectors get together and meet. And before you know, I had trained so many providers across the country that I was like, wouldn't it be great if we had like a My Family reunion where I could see all my students? And that's how the conference started. It's intimate, but it's my way of seeing all my students and just seeing how far they've come and then connecting them with all my colleagues, because it's my colleagues that have helped me get to the next level. And so it's an amazing conference. You're going to love it because the energy, the love, the gratitude, the support, these are the most loyal human beings I've ever met in my life. And I pinch myself every day that they are so good to me and I get to be a part of their journey.
Well, first, let me say, Brene Brown's book, The Strength and Vulnerability, and I appreciate your being honest and vulnerable. I think that sometimes it's very easy in life. You're stunning, you're beautiful, for people to just, judge a book by its cover and assume that everything's so rosy and easy and we're running to Saint-Tropez with bags of money. And that's not, I'm like a girl from Detroit. My parents were hairdressers. My mom was born deaf. I told a little bit about my story once, and same, like I've had to fight my way through every single thing I've done in my career. So, when you share your story about coming from nothing and rising up, it takes grit and perseverance and dedication. And that just, mentality that like, you're going to freaking make it. And you did. So thank you so much. And to think about how MaAI was born, I kind of love that you share the same desires and passion that yes, we all want to make money, but how do we give back in a bigger way and do it better? Because all this weekend bullshit course that somebody Joe Schmo can go take, and then they're like, oh, I have a med spa, and I'm like, what the fuck? Sorry, but like, really? Like, no. And it's gross.
Yeah, that's the number one thing they need is they need community. They need support. They need a mentor. And that's how the business coaching started. Was I would like, let me just tell you all the things I did, how I got where I got. And I now have my coaching clients that are speaking on stage either with me or at the same conferences, making what I make on stage. So that's a beautiful thing. But I love that you brought up the money thing because I do want to touch on this for a minute. So growing up on food stamps, my goals, I've always been a dreamer and have big goals. But truly, all I really wanted was to be able to go into a store, anytime, and buy whatever I want and have a full pantry. And so when I made my first million, first generation on both sides, first one with an education, something flipped in my brain. And I was like, kind of like Christmas, when you wait all year as a little kid and you open up the presents and then you're like, you play with it for a minute and then you're like, okay. When I hit that, everything changed in me to where now it's philanthropy. I have a 4-year exit strategy. I'm selling everything. I'm actually starting my jewelry line now where it's custom jewelry and all the proceeds are going to humanitarian efforts. So the line is called Love for All Humanity. And I want to just give all my money away. I don't need a bigger house. I don't need a fancier car. I love my Amazon clothes.
Yeah.
I have everything I've ever wanted. I have everything I've ever wanted. So now from here on out, I just want to help others get what they want. And I want to give. I want to just serve and I want to give.
I love you for saying that. And I wish more people shared that sentiment because I think there's just so many people living above their means, buying cars and houses and fancy clothes and things they can't afford to try to be something to everyone else. And without having that true passion where I tell people when they're scared to take risks, and I'm sure you've had it with your coaching clients too, like you can't just sit in the quicksand and in the middle of the shit and want something different. Like you have to be willing to make an investment financially in yourself, in your business, in your team, and then do the hard work. I mean, today, I swear to God, like I said, I said, I wish I had fairy dust to sprinkle on your business, but I don't. I can tell you the tools, the resources, the how, the training, the methods, the tech benchmark, all the shit. I can tell you that I've done it, but you have to be able to do the work. You have to be willing to do the work. And I think the doing the work part is the hard part, which is going to lead me to my first question for you. I know the 8 things that I think that is a huge gap in this aesthetic space, whether you're a med spa, integrative medicine, plastic surgeon, facial plastic, it doesn't matter. What are some of the challenges that you think med spa owners face? And from your perspective, then that's going to lead into the difference between coaching and consulting.
Okay, so there's 2 things. One, and this is what I see in my coaching clients. One, they started out as an injector and they got really successful really fast.
Yeah.
They had the advantage of being in an area like myself up in the mountains outside of Park City. I was one of the first in the area, so I grew. And before you know it, you're making a lot of money and you're bringing on all the help. You have to have help run the ship, but you don't have the leadership skills. So you end up hiring your friends and then they have no respect for you. And so I see a lot of that. Like I'm successful, but I don't know what the hell
I'm doing.
Right. And then they did not build a solid foundation. And so the wheels are falling off and the empire is starting to crumble. Right. They don't have the culture. They don't have the mission, the vision, the values. They don't have the team on the same train going in the same direction with the same mission, vision, and values. Mm-hmm. That's one problem. The other problem is you'll get a student that will take a training and they're like, oh, this is easy. And they go out, they build a beautiful med spa because they compared themselves to everybody else on Instagram, right? This multi-million-dollar med spa with tons of equipment. They've now leveraged everything. They have to work their main job to support their side hustle, which they don't even have time to do. And now they're hemorrhaging. And then they come to me and they're like late to the game. And I will tell you, Terri, I have, because of my history, my past, my upbringing, everything I built and own is debt free. I pay cash. If I don't, I don't buy it. And I started very small, very slow, and I took the money, put it back in the business, put the money back in the business. And now I have a really, really nice lifestyle and a very comfortable savings account and retirement and those things.
Yeah.
But I never had, nor do I still have, that multi-million-dollar med spa. I have a small satellite office in Las Vegas. Ironically, I took over the lease of one of my coaching clients that was hemorrhaging. So I partnered with a good friend of mine. So it's her full med spa. I get the privilege of using it because I had, created this relationship.
Sure.
And then my location here, I built out during COVID. And I had the cash to do it. And that was a perfect time because I got a really good deal.
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
$100,000
Some space. Yeah.
And so I created it for injectors to be booth rentals because that's how I started, right? So I now have 7 businesses and 9 streams of revenue. And I love it because when it's summer and the med spa's slow and no one's getting procedures, my ER kits are selling 50 to 75 a month, So I have multiple streams of revenue. I can build a conference, and conferences don't make you money.
No, they do not. And it is it's a lot of work. This is not, gravy train for sure.
Yeah. But again, I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to our core values, 3 pillars: empower, inspire, and educate. And my community knows that's my heart. Like they know I love them. They know I'm all here for them. And now let me tell you, I think you get to a place where some tend to put you on a pedestal. I'm still a human being. I still screw up. I still need grace because I'm not perfect. And I will never be perfect. And I will never master business. I will never master injections. It's always evolving, always growing. But I will tell you, every single day I wake up with a heart full of gratitude that I'm going to give my best and serve my hardest. And I'm going to love you and meet you where you're at.
Yeah.
But I need grace too when I mess up.
I feel like we're like the same person, really, truly. I really do, because we share the same values and sentiments when it comes to giving back. And I also think that there's something to be said for people that just never stop learning. I think it's hard to everything that you're saying when you've done the work, you've worn all the shoes, you've put in the hard work, and you've mastered a successful blueprint or a model that you can help someone. It's the greatest reward. But yet it's true. Like, I constantly am challenging myself, constantly learning, hiring mentors and coaches. I don't ever want to be the smartest person, right? I know what I know, but I'm always learning. And I think there's still, back to your conference, we started the 4S Summit, which is really like getting your MBA of aesthetics for the same reasons of you. It's very sad to be part of faculty and lecturing at all these amazing societies and conferences, and then people still walk away with a binder full of notes and get back to the practice on the business side, and they can't execute because they don't know how. And no one will succeed. No one can have a sustainable practice, and no one, certainly, or very small percent, will be able to have an exit strategy, because unlike you and where you've devoted your time and effort to be able to have 9 revenue streams, who can really say that? Shit, I'm going to ask you how to get 9 revenue streams. I need to figure that out. So, second question then. Tell me, in your opinion, the fundamental difference between, this is a word my team and I talk about all the time, coaching and consulting, because they are different things.
Very different. And that's great. So coaching is, I will tell you, 80% of business is psychology. It's mental. You're going to be putting out fires all day, every day. You have to be a leader. You have to learn how to lead people, not be a boss. I'm not a boss. Yeah. I bought that Gino Wickman book, How to Be a Boss. I am not a boss.
I love it.
I do not need to tell you. I want team players. I want you to think for yourself. I want you to be a go-getter. I'm not going to hover you. I do not need to give you a checklist and tell you what to do. You got to join the team. You got to be going after it. And we work side by side together. So business coaching is, I am your number one cheerleader. I am your biggest fan. I'm your bestie, but I will give you a swift kick in the pants because that's what you're paying me to do. I'm going to call you out on your BS, your blind spots that you can't see. I can tell when you're self-sabotaging. I can tell when you're getting in your way, and it's all in your head. You're making up a story. You're coming up with an excuse. You have a limiting belief, but until you change your psychology, you will never make the money you want to make. You will never become the person you want to be. You will never attract the perfect spouse or whatever your ideal man is until you step into the image of who you're meant to be. And when you do the work internally, it really reflects on your external world. So I'm definitely mindset. We do a ton of reading. I do help with the business side. And I actually, you and I share a couple clients. I'm not sure if you know that.
Oh, I don't.
We do. We share a couple clients and I check in with them. How's it going with Terri? What can I help you with? What do we need to execute on? Because I hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And when my coaching client goes to any training or any conference, we have a game plan before they go. What is your intention? What do you expect to get out of it? And you better have models and patients lined up and your special so that you can execute on Monday when you get back. Because so many injectors spend so much money on training and they're not even touching patients.
I know.
I'm like, work on your mindset. Work on your mindset. Learn business. Learn leadership. Learn how to manage your money. And the patients will come when you work on yourself.
To your point, it's not just being a good provider. Somebody can be the very best, right? The very best with the best bedside manner and know what to do and know what treatments to offer. But they have, like you said, that limiting belief or the mindset. I don't want to sell. I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't want to, build a treatment plan or all this stuff. And it's interesting. I had a call today and I have this piece of paper right here. And, I always ask what the challenges are in the business. And this is what I wanted to ask you next, right? When you're talking about the difference between coaching and consulting, and then you have these injectors that, to your point, spend tons of money, but yet they lack the business acumen. Where do you think that comes from? And why do you think people are so hesitant? Because I'm going to be frank, and people know that what you see is what you get. I'm bold in this statement, but I'm like, the amount of calls that I even personally take, by the way, and when I'm asking what are the challenges, and they literally write, I need to identify growth opportunities. I need to understand my data, KPIs, training, phone skills, consultations, objection handling, leads, marketing. There's 12 things on this thing. And everybody has the same problem.
Yeah.
And then they're wondering why they're not successful. And they're wondering why someone today was like, well, I need to get more people in the door. And I'm like, your foundation is broken. Like the doors, you're going to fall through the cracks right now. Like, knock it off. There's no, again, fairy dust I can sprinkle, but then the next thing is, well, what? Oh my God, well, you must be expensive. Well, how much is that going to cost? How the hell are you kidding me that you're telling me you have 12 things wrong, but you think working with an expert to get you further faster is expensive. So where do you think that mentality comes from? When we've grown practices, millions and millions of dollars, by the way, when they're like, I don't want to do that.
I will tell you, that is the single most, if people focus on the money and not having it, you're exactly right. You're not going to have it. I'm flying to Houston tomorrow to go to a business conference.
I love it.
I spend on average $80,000 to $100,000 a year in education.
I do too. Amen, girl.
Y'all, listen, the more you learn, the more you earn.
Yes.
Invest in Terri. Invest in a coach, because I know hands down. Terri, the funniest thing, I don't just coach aesthetics. My window guy, I coach him. He now is crushing it.
Yeah.
My landscaper, I coach so many other people because they see what I've done.
Yeah.
And once you know business, you understand business.
Right,
but you guys, I went back to college, to the university, to take a business course. And the funny thing is, I ended up hiring my business professor to come work for me.
Amazing. No, yeah.
And so you have to learn business and you have to invest. And I promise you, it's like I hired Grania to run my conference, right?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the time and the money that my team and I put in all year long to do a conference, I could pay her a big chunk of money. It is a ton of money, but I knew that if I focus on what I'm really good at and do what I'm really good at, she's going to take care of her own expense. Like she will pay herself for what you know what I mean? So you have to take a risk. But this is what I talked about on my Instagram live this morning. I believe so deeply in myself. I'm not a quitter. I don't give up. I figure it out. And I put myself in the room with bigger, brighter, stronger, faster people. And they have helped me every single time.
Yeah.
So for example, I met Dr. Sykes. He and I have been in the same circuit for years.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Right. Dear friend of mine. Love him to pieces.
Yes. So I met him in Vienna and we became really good friends in Vienna. We were there for a Merz meeting and we just became friends. And then I was like, you know what, Dr. Sykes, Utah does not have a cadaver course.
Yeah.
Why don't I pay you? And I paid him a lot to come out. And I was like, I better freaking fill up this class because I got to be a surgeon.
Right.
So why don't I pay you to come out and teach my community? 3 classes later, and we generated over $100,000.
Oh my God.
A relationship. Your opportunities are going to come through people. And he and I are the best of friends now. And it's a win-win. It serves us both. He loves my community because they love him.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's the people. So with my jewelry line, I was talking about this on Instagram. I lost my jeweler. I don't know anything about jewelry, but I know my mission.
Right. Yeah.
I know I'm on a mission to make a difference. And I know the lives that will be changed from the proceeds from this jewelry. So a friend that I met at a conference out of the blue calls me and he's like, hey, I'm going to a conference. You should come. And we got talking and I'm like, okay, I'll come. I'll buy a ticket. I'll fly down and come. And then I said, and he actually is the one that connected me with my editors for my book.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then I was like, he's like, so what projects are you working on? I said, well, I really am trying to launch this jewelry line and I'm just sick about it because the only jeweler I know is having some family stuff and he can't help me. I was planning on launching it at the conference. He goes, I have a jeweler. My family has a jeweler. He makes all of our stuff custom. And he's like, here, call him. I called him. He was on it like that because he loved my mission. He loved the vision. I shared the whole vision. He had 5 pieces made within like 3 or 4 days.
Incredible.
It all came together.
Yeah.
Because I put myself in the right room and all these opportunities came. So that one conference that maybe cost me $1,500 plus flight and hotel has now turned into a book, has now turned into a jewelry line, has now turned into so many things. So
I love that. I want to repeat the phrase that you said because I love it and I use it as well. You know, the more you learn, the more you earn. And people just really need to kind of get out of their own way or go back to, I know you read a lot, the Simon Sinek, which I talk about a lot. You're always saying mission, vision, values, but why is anyone in this business? And it can't just be because I want to make a bunch of money. Because this industry, I'm sure you'll agree, is becoming too much of a commodity, too much of a competitive landscape. Everybody's wanting to do it. And it's a fight for who's going to do it better and who's got more credentials. And this isn't who's the smartest surgeon or the smartest NP. It's not anymore. If you cannot run the business, and to your point, be a leader, 3 things make a business suffer. You said it, leadership and culture, number 1, the training. This isn't a one-time thing, people, right? This isn't right. And then the accountability on the data side. We have to, and then underneath that is a whole bunch of other shit that we have to master, and people have to recognize that. So, can you share? Obviously, again, you have your tribe and your community, like a specific, any case study or a story, right, of somebody. Because, you know, that you've coached that has just had, you know, a great outcome and a growth opportunity in their business.
Oh,
probably so many. I know. I did have a call with somebody. I think you referred her to me and we just, you know, went on and on about you. And
yeah. So, I mean, I definitely have had students take the course, get the, mentorship. I'm telling you, Terri, we become really good friends, my students and I. And they've gone to 7 figures their first year. Yeah. But they know business, right? They understand the business side. Now, it took me longer than my first year, right? It took me many years to get my first 7 figures. Mm-hmm. And then to be able to maintain it and to be able to, this is challenging. And I'm telling you, like, I was literally last week in almost tears because my director of operations just quit. I'm a month away from my conference. My internal marketing just quit. And I'm like, but I've been doing this for 9 years. And I know I don't take it personally anymore. This is life. And now I just, when I hire them, I say, honey, you're going to spread your wings and fly at some point. Sometime. And I just want you to know that the door is always open. And so I've built that culture and I build, that leadership and I do my very best. But they need to invest in someone like you or a coach or take a couple business. And you know what? There's so much free education. Yeah. And when I learned about you, I was obsessed. I listened to all your YouTube and now I tell my coaching clients, I will help you with mindset. I will hold you accountable. I will help you, but you have to listen to Terri's stuff. I mean, it's business to the core. And I read books. That's how I learn. I do a ton of reading. And I have friends like you that I lean heavy on. So...
Well, thank you, honey, for the kind words. And it's back at you. I was asked the other day to be part of something that, on the outside, and I won't say what it was. It sounded all great and pretty, and I'm always wanting to be involved on a bigger scale to give back. And when it came down to it, it just wasn't the right thing and the right fit, not for what my intentions and my why is. And I'm sure you get exposed to clients, that come to you, they've went to different trainings and, with that, whatever the hell's happening over there, Mm-hmm. And so when you're people, because we share again, the same types of people looking to enhance just not their clinical ability. And then on the business side, how do you coach your people next steps in terms of when do they hire somebody? Should they do the investment? Like what's the return? And I always say, if people look at investing in their business as an expense, shame on you, because expense has no ROI.
Right.
I am much like you. I have probably spent $100,000, same, constantly going, learning, being in a room. What is it, right? Your net work is your net worth. Yeah. And it is. And that's how we learn and get exposed to things that we would never know is possible. And so that small mindset, that fixed mindset, that you have a bunch of problems in your business, but you don't hold anyone accountable. Yeah. You say there's no time, the team's not going to do it. Shame on you, right? If you feel that way, then you got the wrong people on the bus because that's never going to be a business. And I said you can be 2 things. You can be intentional or transactional. So what kind of practice do you want to have? Because it's about less people in the door. Forget the marketing, roll the window down and throw it out the window. Not if everything else is not solid. And if just more people could focus on that and be, again, brilliant at their craft and be a brilliant leader, this industry would be in a very different place. So I'm so beyond excited to be there with you in a couple of weeks. Any last sort of final parting words, when people are, again, if there was 3 takeaways from your perspective?
First of all, the single most important, there's a reason why a racehorse wears blinders. Because if you're looking to your competition, whatever you want to call it, you're losing momentum. Put your head down and focus on you. And if you don't know your why you got into business in the first place, that has got to be so strong and so compelling that it pulls you through your shit days, because you're going to have a lot of them if you're a business owner. Right. And the very first book I give all my coaching clients to read, and you can get it on YouTube for free, it's The 4 Agreements. And I always say there's 2 things that will ruin any relationship you're in, whether it's a business relationship, your marriage, a colleague. 1, making assumptions.
Yes.
And 2, if you have expectations of someone, you must clearly define them and let that person know you have an expectation, because you're going to get disappointed from your expectations not being met. Yeah. And you're going to have broken relationships. And as a business owner, you are a leader. You lead Don't go in and boss and manage people. No, you lead people, have that culture, and your vision and your mission has to be so strong that they want to serve alongside you. They're not there just for the paycheck. They want something more.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that. So now let's dive in. Let's tell everybody about MaAI. When is it? What's going to be going on there? What can people expect? And if they have not registered, where can they go?
Yeah, so one more week of registration. That's it. It closes on Monday. Yeah. All of our workshops are sold out. And this is our first year doing 3 tracks: esthetician track, business track, and your clinical track. And we have the best of the best faculty. And they're all my friends. And I'm so grateful. It's small. It's intimate. We keep it under 150 because I want you to come with an intention. I'm going to have you have 3 people you network and become relationship with. And because I hold you accountable during the conference. Yes. You're going to leave with so much more. I don't want you wasting a weekend of your life or $1,000 of your money. Okay. You are coming and you're going to get so much out of it. And I hug everybody. I want to know everybody in my audience. And you're going to leave with so many friends and it's almost life-changing because it is so intimate and it's just so fun. So it's in Park City. You fly into Salt Lake, take an Uber to Park City. It's at the Westgate Resort and Spa. Gorgeous. Everybody comes in on Friday, August 23rd. We have a welcome reception Friday night. And then we start class early. We have yoga early Saturday morning because I'm a believer. Move your body, move your mood. You've got to move your body. You'll see me and Dr. Stella Curry in the gym every morning at 5 a.m.
Oh, God, I know it.
And Audrey Neff. She's there too.
Yes, of course. And at that 5:30 thing, I see you guys all. We're all doing the same thing. I mean, truly, Yvonne, it's been such an honor. I hope everyone listening, you guys, I hope you can replay this back and that you really felt the love and the passion and the desire and the motivation and the mindset to kind of whatever shit you're in right now. And maybe you're in a great place and I hope that you are, but if you're not and you're struggling in any way, shape or form, you heard both of our stories, you know what we do. We do it from a place of pure love and gratitude and to give back. So Yvonne, thank you. Your success is to be admired. You inspire me, and stay tuned, you guys. We're going to be doing so much more together, Yvonne and I. And where can people reach out or find you?
On Instagram. So Medical Aesthetic Art Institute is our main Instagram handle. Yeah.
I love it. And Tribe, again, if you found this valuable, if you want to share it with a colleague or friend, please, I encourage you to share this. Leave me a message. This podcast is for you and what you guys want to hear, learn, and love. And I love what she said about her conference. You guys know we started the 4S Summit, which is just your down and dirty MBA of aesthetics. Next one is going to be in December. And it's the same. It's the intimate. It's the community. But I love you all so much. Thank you for listening. And I cannot wait to see you on the next episode of In Touch with Terri. Ciao, guys.
Thanks for listening to In Touch with Terri. We hope you found this discussion insightful and empowering. If you want to go further faster, remember, the journey to success is a continuous learning process. And together with Terri and her expert team, you can navigate the challenges and celebrate the victories. To book a Growth Accelerator call, click the link in the episode notes to terrirossconsulting.com.